Okay. Here at Navy Pier for this. Where are we going again? Bridal Expo. So.
We just got off a really bad taxi cab ride.
Yeah, we did. So still walking, going to this
we're gonna pass Garrett's popcorn, the best popcorn ever.
Yeah, man.
Oops, sorry. Garrett's, look.
Best popcorn ever.
They moved it. They used to be on the corner. I know.
So it's a nice day. Oh. Okay, we'll see you later when we get there.
There's all these like...
So we're almost here.
It's so quiet.
I know. Look it, no one's around. More miles, miles, miles. Well, all the way. Where are we going? Oh, there you go.
Does that mean upstairs? Yes.
So we're almost here, but yet we see nobody.
After 30 minutes of walking.
Oh wait. Let's see. This way. Oh here. Whoops. It's pretty big, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I've never been to one of these, so I don't know.
Segue in here, that's funny.
Security, police, and a Segway.
In the hotel.
In a hotel.
Hi, you guys. Hi, how are you?
So what do you think?
I've been to better.
And this is my first one, so it's not bad.
No, but the venue is nice.
Yeah.
And the view, look at the view.
That it is. I'm just here for the free food and drinks at every booth. Yeah.
That was a pretty weak bridal expo. Sorry, honey.
Well, that was fun. But there was this really good strawberry, what is it? Raspberry like dessert thing. It was awesome.
And the good sausage.
Yeah. See a show. Okay, part 2. On the what boat are we on? On Anita boat for a fashion show. So we're downstairs. And they have an upstairs too. But, so the show will start soon.
I really hate that we're always video recording.
I know.
And we
Isn't
have
it?
other brides, not in the show, but we do.
Okay.
It's kind of fun though. We had gotten here earlier this morning. We were doing a run through. And I said, I didn't realize the boat moved when it was anchored to the shore, and it really does. But once you get on board and you go on your cruise, you don't feel it, and you'll see the skyline. I've been on the cruise several times, and they're perfect.
You're on me recording.
Love every minute of it.
So done with the fashion show. And how was it? How would you say?
Probably like 1.5, 2-ish.
Do you see what I went to? I'm just kidding. It was okay. And
It was alright.
it was okay. Now, shops go.
My name's Dan. I'll be one of 2 captains on board, along with Captain Derek down there. Just a quick safety announcement. This is a U.S. Coast Guard inspected vessel. We carry life jackets for everybody. They're located in the white boxes underneath the wooden benches on the port and starboard side, upper and lower deck. Crew members will help you put them on if you have to, but that's all.
Be the handy guide or docent for the voyage. And to start you all out in a very general sense, if you take a look off to your left side here now, there it is. Chicago. My work is done here. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the bar. I'll be downstairs playing with my phone for the rest of the trip. That's not true. What you're looking at out there is currently, right now, diagonally to the right in front of us, is a great look at the Wrigley Building. Home to the great chewing gum empire, the Wrigley Building is two buildings connected by bridges in between it, and the clock tower on the top is modeled from the Giralda Tower in Seville, Spain. The whole building's a blend of Spanish and French Renaissance-style architecture, Americanized by Graham Anderson, Probst, and White back in 1921. But next, directly to the right here, you're going to see the Chicago Tribune Tower, 1922. The Tribune newspaper held a competition to see who could design the most beautiful office building in the world. Out of 264 entries, that's first place right there by Raymond Hood and John Howes of New York. Their design was inspired by the Butter Tower from the Rouen Cathedral in France, where all the Gothic elements on top come. Here's your closed bridges for you. Yeah. Don't touch it. I know you want to. I want to. I do not. The Wrigley Building, a closer look here. This was the first office building that was ever built on the north side of the river, back when it was still mainly industrial. And right above us, a much closer look at the full height of the Trump Tower.
Oh.
Again, it's the work of Adrian Smith. The three setbacks you see on the old Chicago River. You also find brickwork set up to look like shafts of wheat around the windows near the top, meant to take on some of the aspects of the American prairie in their design. Early ideas that would later evolve into the prairie style of architecture. Here's a pretty new office building here to the right side, 300 North LaSalle, about a year and a half old now. Almost all windows on this one, floor to ceiling, cable suspended glass making up most of the outer walls. And it takes advantage of being on the river with a nice park area back here too. It's right next door to the old Chase Sanborn Coffee Warehouse, which is now a modern office with a glass penthouse across the top of it with a little dirt on it. Yeah, that's my top drawer stuff right there. It's not going to get funnier than that. I left out a Gary Busey joke earlier. That was pretty funny. Maybe next time. Here's one of the great giants of the past, the Merchandise Mart. It was considered the biggest building in the world when it was complete back in the early 1930s. It takes up 2 entire city blocks, and it has the authentic Art Deco style right there. Vertical lines running up the sides, gentle setbacks up there at the top. Nice Mart. It was the Apparel Mart. It began as a warehouse for fine fabrics and clothing. It was mostly windowless to start with, since direct sunlight is bad for a fine fabric. Most of the windows you see were touched later when it was turned into hotel and office space. And you can see it's now home to the Holiday Inn and Chicago Sun-Times. It may not be a wildly attractive building. It does stand on an important piece of land. This is Wolf Point, where all the branches of the river meet. So far, we've been on the main branch. On your left side, the South Branch would take you into the canal and all the way down to the Mississippi River. On the right side, the North Branch leads to the source of the river up in the northern suburbs. Wolf Point is also where Chicago became a town. It signed the charter to be a town right here in 1833. With a population of roughly 200 fur traders, living in a town that consisted mainly of a military fort at the mouth of the river, Fort Dearborn, and 3 taverns built here on the 3 banks of Wolf Point. The train is about to cross this bridge ahead of us. The elevated train in Chicago is normally only called the L. You can also get away with calling it the train or the CTA. Just try not to call it the subway. The subway in Chicago is somewhere you get a sandwich, if there's not a Potbelly's close. The elevated train has been carrying people since the 1890s. They began as cable cars, but the winters were too cold and snapped the cables every winter, so the elevated system was next. And that track there makes a great big loop around the downtown area to your left, which is mainly why downtown Chicago is called the Loop. Is another Art Deco giant of the past. This is from 1929. and it's the Civic Opera Building. Now it's home to the Lyric Opera of Chicago, though it is still a working opera house. And through the years, the building has gained the nickname of Insull's Throne. Insull was Samuel Insull. He put up all the money to have it built. And throne, because from the back of the building here, it looks like it's in the shape of a giant throne. There are several stories that surround this building as to why it is shaped like that. The most popular story is that Samuel Insull's wife desperately wanted to be a famous opera singer, yet lacked talent. She was turned down by the great operas of New York, so the throne was built for her, with its back turned to New York City. Perhaps. It's either that or a combination of things. Like the seat of the throne is where the opera stage is located, and they couldn't build the office tower on top of the stage because there wasn't enough support under it. And the two arms on the throne, the setbacks on the building, are built according to the 1927 zoning ordinance, the biggest post office in the world when it was finished in the early 30s. In order to accommodate a massive mail order industry here, they thought they needed a massive post office. But its great size led to its downfall. Over the years, it became obsolete due to its enormity, and it's now been vacant for about 15 years. The Congress Parkway right there runs directly through the third story of the building. It was designed with a big hole in the middle so you could run the highway through it.
So there's nothing there. That's crazy.
It's mainly been in movies lately. It was the Gotham Police Department and the Gotham National Bank in the last Batman movie. And they filmed some Transformers 3 on it last. The Willis Tower. Just about 2 years ago, the Willis Insurance Agency bought 3 floors of the 110-story Sears Tower, and they were also given the naming rights to the building. So, in a rather bold public relations move, they decided it would be a good idea to rename the Sears Tower the Willis Tower, which has been very difficult to accept so far. New nicknames right off the bat, though. People never waste time with that. Right away, the Willis Tower became Big Willie. When it rains, it's Wet Willie. When it's cold, it's Chilly Willie. And in all reverence to Gary Coleman, there's also the What You Talking About Willis Tower is the other big one. So listen for those. Now it's down to being the 4th tallest in the world, but it is still the tallest building in North America. If you add in those antennas, it goes up to about 1,725 feet. That would make it the 3rd tallest in the world. But Gothic-inspired terracotta, baked clay, supposed to be fireproof. Except the very top of the building, which is a much brighter white than the rest, because the top is now made out of aluminum. The clay top was falling apart all the time, so the new aluminum top is built to last. It was much lighter, too. One single helicopter just flew that whole thing.